Hey, YouTube, this is Nia Tate. I'm here to do the review for Belle Collective, Season 7, Episode 12. So, at the start of this episode, we see Marie, um, Latricia, and Selena. They're all meeting up together to at a clothing store to pick out an outfit with Marie because they're going to do a date night competition for Marie to find her a date. So they're at the clothing store, and Marie, Marie, I feel she always looks good. But one thing about Marie, is it's gonna be short or it's gonna be tight or fitted, whatever you want to say. Okay. And so that's what she's like. She's like, don't put me in no grandma clothes. I don't want to pick nothing out like that. So they go through a couple of outfits to help her select because what they're gonna do is um they're gonna have each of the bells is gonna bring, I think, two guys to the event, and then they're gonna let her play games and let her select one of the guys. So that's gonna be fun. And while Maria's in there getting changing outfits, Selena starts telling uh, Latricia about her wedding, and she starts asking her. She's like, Selena, like she behind. The wedding is evidently in a couple of weeks, and she just getting the seating arrangements together, and so she's kind of frazzled about it. So Latricia tells she gonna go over there and help her out to she's gonna help her out. And I remember when it first started, she picked like who she wanted to be like her, I think her maid of honor and her the people that's gonna be in her wedding. And I thought was it Latrice and Tamron? No, maybe it wasn't Latrice. I don't know. Whoever she picked, I'm like, they not helping you? Because I remember Latricia had she had a little she had a little attitude. She felt like she was kind of hurt that Selena hadn't asked her. So now, she kind of having to come in and help her at the last minute. So they go on about their way. The outfits that they picked, I felt like the second little jumpsuit was cute, but Marie like, yeah, I'ma just wear something from my own closet. So next up, we see Glendale meets up with Mike, who is Selena's fiance. They have a little luncheon. They got to get a little camera time. I don't know why Glendale keep trying to meet up with me, guys, trying to tell his story. Just do right, and you wouldn't have no problem. He act like he's so stressed out. Like Glendale, please. So he tells Mike, um, about this posting up, and then he went to attorney to talk about it. Now, this is where we get to the point of playing telephone. If you don't know what telephone is, it's old school. Back in the day when they used to say, when once the story starts on the telephone, by the time it gets to the last person, you can start out with six people. By the time it gets to the last person, it's a totally different story. This right here is gonna be nothing but a big miscommunication. And I don't really like that when shows do that. Um, but we just gonna play along. So yeah, he asked Mike, is he gonna get a prenup? And Mike like, nah, man, I ain't interested in nothing like that. Um, we lose, we lose. And so he's asking about. He said, well, Latrice, my wife told me she want a post nut, and he's like, what's that? He told him he went to the lawyer to talk about it. He, t- I don't know how Mike got. I don't know how Mike got all messed up. I don't know, but he got the story. He went back and told Selena a whole different story. And so next we see the ladies go visit Latrice at her house. It's Selena and Tamron, and they go do some yoga. Evidently, Selena knows, some yoga moves. It's like a meditational yoga. So they all out by the pool and kind of like doing yoga and meditation, and so they're enjoying that. And then Latrice brings out some food, and so they sitting around talking, and that's when Selena says she tells the ladies that um, Mike told her that Mike had met up with Glendale, and Glendale had said that he had met up with a divorce lawyer. Now I know that the producers told Selena to do this because why would you even bring that up? You know that Tamron or Latrice are not her biggest fans. So why are you even talking about her business in front of them? And of course Latrice kind of, ears perked up, like what? Like what? And they kind of, they're shocked. And Tamron said, well, this is the thing. I, I don't understand. I remember when Marie, when the last time they got separated, and he left her. She said she couldn't even afford a hamburger. He left her with like $4 or something in the bank. And I don't know why you would go back to a man like that, that left you in that type of predicament. And so Selena wasn't saying nothing; she was just being quiet. But I'm with Tamara, like, yeah, that's real bad. So they were saying, "Do you think she knows anything?" And it's like, no, I don't think she do. All meanwhile, she the one started the whole thing with the posting up, but they don't know that. So um next we see a scene with Marie and her dad that she looks just like. They go to lunch, and so she's just telling him about apparently her daddy is a women's basketball coach, or girls. I don't know if he coaches college or high school. They wasn't that specific, but he coaches girls basketball, women's basketball. And so he seems like a really nice man. So she's telling him about what her son wants to do, and wants to start a dispensary. And she was trying to talk to her son about where the capital comes from. And she said she just wants her children to be successful, and and use her life as an example, because apparently she started her two businesses like in her 20s, and they were like multi-million dollar businesses. And she said, I just want my children to, recognize my legacy and be a part of it. So he said, yeah, I think you just need to talk to all of them. Hopefully one of them at least want to follow in their footsteps, because these kids don't be wanting, they be having the way made for them, and they want to go ahead and do something different, and that's their right. But hopefully at least one of her children um goes in her footsteps, and continues the business. But even if they don't, they can learn a lot from their mom, starting a business, being an entrepreneur, because like Marie was saying, that's not an easy road. You you really have to have a certain type of um uh like demeanor and a certain type of grit to be a entrepreneur. So she's gonna talk to her kids. Then next she asked her dad about told him that the girls were doing a little dating event for her, and what type of man that he thinks she needs to be with. And he said, well, the Lord gonna send you a good man. You don't have to look for it. So that was cute. Cute little meet up. So then we see uh Selena. Trisha goes to Selena house to help her, because she had told her when they were with Marie at the clothing store. She said, I'm gonna come over there and help you. So she goes over to the house, and Selena on the phone with her wedding planner. And the wedding planner seemed like she just kind of evidently she met that wedding planner through one of the Belle events with uh Patricia. And she said, uh, that's how they met. But the wedding planner seemed real laid back to me. If you're gonna have a wedding planner, you need somebody that's gonna be like almost, I mean, you paying them to be rude to you, but to almost be like, listen, you got to get this done. Okay. The wedding planner, like, okay. So Selena got this in her head that her angel numbers are 444. So she want to get married on April 4th at 4 p.m. And it's like a couple of weeks away, and she don't even have her theme. like tied down. Like, girl, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. She just seems so indecisive. And like uh and she told her, she said, you need to just be eeny, meeny, miny, mo and pick, because you running out of time. And I don't know. So Selena did not mention the whole thing about the divorce lawyer. She said she was just so busy trying to get her she's busy trying to get her wedding, taken care of. She just didn't feel like it was a time and a place to mention it. So and next up we see the event, the dating event, and Marie's little stepdaughter says she's cute. She's so cute, but she considers her a daughter. And because that's what I forgot her name, his name. Marie used to be married to. That's his daughter. She's pretty. And so she's there, she's helping them. And so all the ladies bring two guys. Latrice brings a lady because she said she saw when they went to the strip club, she saw the way that Marie was looking at somebody up in there. And Marie has mentioned that at one point in time she did have a little clang, a little thing with a woman. This was years ago, but apparently she said, um, that was just a long time ago. So um, Latrice, did you say, well, hey, maybe this will work. So they had the guys, they blindfold Marie, and they asked the guys different questions. And when they got to the lady, I don't know, she didn't want to be there. She didn't want to be there. I think she did that on purpose because their question was, what is something that about yourself that Marie would not, that you would not want Marie to know? Or Marie would not want to know about you. And the lady said, well, that she has slept with the mama, the daughter, the sister. I don't know, girl, almost the whole family. Excuse me. So she was automatically disqualified. Anna Marie gonna say, Latrice is always trying to push the ladies on me. I don't know why she does that. That's your thing, not mine. I'm like, Marie, you sat there and told us a couple of episodes ago, and which nobody asked you about your past with women. And the men was there. You was just freely talking about it. Maybe you had a little too much to drink and you don't remember, but I don't know why you so upset with Latrice, because I mean, don't act like it was just out the blue. So there was a nice looking guy there. He was a musician. She had met him through Latrice before at the club at Club Taste, and they had kind of like showed a little flashback, and they had kind of like had a little conversation. Nice looking man. That's who I would have picked, but she was blindfolded, so the next thing they did was like they can come up and you could like put your hands on them and kind of feel, I guess, their face and their chest and stuff, but she still was blindfolded. So she ended up not picking him. Maybe that's a good thing because he's handsome and he's a musician, and y'all know how musicians is, child. Jackson ain't too Jackson ain't much big, because he might got around me. He's a nice looking man. So he got disqualified. So she ended up picking out the guy that one of the guys that Selena brought. So he was a nice looking guy. And so they want a date to taste to Latrice's restaurant. So they're gonna go on a date. I think they'll show it next week. But then Tamron was like, well, girl, if it don't work out for him, you still got them other guys' numbers, just go to plan B, C, D, E. So then they get to talking about Selena decides she want to bring up now about Glendale talking to Mike about a divorce, like in front of all the ladies. And we know this is production, but just saying. So she mentions it, and she said, "Yeah, Mike and Glendale went to lunch, and Glenn said that something about he went to see a divorce lawyer, and something about a posting up, and he'll go." She go Trisha. She go like. Well, I don't know anything about this. Do you know anything about it? I don't know anything about that. Girl, didn't you talk to that man about a posting up? Shouldn't that have rang a bell to you? Like you acting like this is totally out the blue. To me, I'd have been like, oh, okay. I would have said, well, I did discuss a posting up with him. Maybe he went to see. To me, that's the common thing. Why you ain't think about that? So then here go Latrice Missy. Well, I heard it was an attorney and a financial planner. So then they like, how you know? Wait a minute, how you know? And so Selena's like, well, I did talk to, it was weighing heavy on me. So I did talk to Latrice and Tamara. And girl, what she said that for? And I kind of don't blame her. Like, why are you talking to them? You know they don't like me. Why are you telling them my business? And so then she said, well, Selena, that's what you got mad at me about. Isn't that what you got mad at me about the baby that I didn't come to you first and tell you? And Marie started laughing. Marie was like, girl, everybody know your business but you. And so Selena said, well, I don't think that's quite the same thing, girl. It's the same thing. That was wrong. You should, Selena, I like you. You my favorite, but you wrong for that. So and then Latrice, why you had to Latrice threw you right under the bus and rolled right over you. They threw you under the bus, girl. Why you had to even say something? You should have just said nothing, girl, because that made it even worse. She already feel like the world is against her. All the ladies, nobody ever takes up for her. Now all of them knew and nobody told her. So she gets emotional and she starts crying and she walks out. And then she gets in the car and she calls Glendale in the store and it goes off. And so, like I said, this ain't nothing but some miscommunication. I mean, and some for the ladies to talk about. So it was a pretty good episode. I like the little dating thing. I like when they mix a little fun in with the drama. I give this episode a A. And so thank you all so much for listening to my review. You have a great rest of your day, and I am out.